So we saw Sound of Freedom last night,
Sure did.
and there's been a lot of things. There's been talked about. I mean, we're kind of late. They've been talking about it for like the last
Yeah.
week or so. I wasn't in a hurry. I made this little reel short about this. If you guys saw on my channel about how I'm not super excited to go see a movie that is showing this super traumatic stuff. Like it's sad because we're not. We're like it's just depressing
Right,
that it's happening.
100%.
But also, it's important that there's a light shed on what's going on. And I think that Sound of Freedom is doing a good job of, or that Jim Caviezel and Tim Ballard in the movie is doing a good job of making people's eyes awaken to what is actually happening behind closed doors. And so,
Because even without knowing a ton, if you know a little bit about human trafficking, you know it's bigger than you think, right? And this put a face to like a face to it. You saw
yeah,
there's people, you saw the faces, and it made you think, wow, this is way worse than I thought. I know it's happening, I know it's real, I know it's worldwide,
mhm.
but this did a perfect job of showing how evil
Well,
this
and
truly
not only
is.
that, but like at the beginning, there was that the guy that he caught. I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. So if you don't want to know, I mean, come back and watch this later. But there was the guy at the beginning that they caught, the pedophile guy that they caught, that who was on his computer and they
Yeah.
ran it, bombarded his house. He looked like a typical
Yeah.
kind of guy you'd little mustache, slick back hair, glasses. Looks like he'd be
Stereotypical
stereotypical
pedo.
pedophile. But then as the movie kept going on, you saw all these people. The woman that recruited the two siblings, who was like seemingly like some beautiful woman who was a talent person. I mean, you could immediate red flag when she told the father he couldn't be a part of it anymore. Like
Yeah.
literally, I would have been like, no. You think
Pick
I'm
pick
gonna
him
let
up at
at 7? You
7
think I'm gonna leave my child for that many hours with you?
and
Ha!
bro, in a
Psych
room
in
with a bunch of
Colombia?
children. Right,
No,
right.
no. I mean, not
The
and not even in America, but like
nowhere.
what? So I mean, it was terrible. I think what like why we're discussing it today is obviously because it's important. You should go see the movie. It's very inspirational, and maybe you see it, you'll be the next person to create an organization that's actually going to do something that will benefit these children that are actually getting stolen from the streets, from their homes, from all over the world in silence, dead silence. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
talk about it. But the reason why we're talking about it, or one of the many reasons why we're talking about it, is not only for awareness, but also the reaction from mainstream media. Like,
honestly, I
can
watched
you
the
pull
movie.
up the article, just like the title head of for the first, not the first tab. The first tab is just like the Sound of Freedom, but the second one, let me know when it's pulled up. It says, okay, Sound of Freedom review in the land of child traffickers. This is the New York Times, I believe, and it says starring Jim Caviezel. The movie tells a story of child trafficking and the people combating it, but it is muted. Its muted tone ultimately undercuts its solemn sense of mission, like its tone,
I just don't see how this
muted tone,
movie
muted tone.
yeah, I don't see how this movie muted anything. I think the fact that you can watch the whole movie, just this alone, you watch the whole movie, you saw the raid happen in the movie,
Yep,
and then you saw the real life footage
of the
of the
raid.
raid happening. There's no tone that misrepresents the
Or muted,
reality
muted.
that muted the reality of the situation.
And like we were talking about yesterday, like maybe like when he went out into that thing by himself, went to that
Yeah.
rebellious area, rebellion. I don't know what they said, the
Yeah.
rebellion army or army, but like rebellion crew of people that were like
Yeah.
they had no access to because they would probably get like attacked and killed. That probably didn't actually happen where he went by himself, but I'm sure something happened
Yeah.
similar to that. And obviously, it says based on a true story, which means certain parts of it are fiction. Just
Mhm.
like the premise of the movie is true. What
Yeah.
happened and the fact that this is what happens is true, or things like this similar to this have happened.
It's
And they
really
tried
not
to make
even
it but they tried
crazy.
to make it seem like it the on the second clip or second tab, we'll show that one before we get even more into it. It says Sound of Freedom, the QAnon adjacent thriller seducing America. That's the title. And if you guys want to read these
QAnon
articles, it's the
adjacent
New York
thriller.
Times and it's the Guardian. And those are and I think Rolling Stone said something too. So if you want to look that up while we're talking, you can. But if not, like, I don't remember what the title was. But it's like, how could you watch that movie? You could say the production quality, I didn't like that. It wasn't Steven Spielberg, or it wasn't like whatever, or
Okay.
it wasn't like a Hollywood high budget movie. Obviously, it's got like 100 million plus in the box office. It was doing pretty well regardless. But I didn't like the acting. We could say something
Yeah.
like that. Make little critiques in terms of the fact that it's a film, and it can be critiqued for the fact that it's a film. But you cannot critique the message,
The
and that's what these articles are doing. Like
that we
the
they
muted tone took away from the solemn sense of the mission. I'm sorry.
what's the
The
mission,
mission
bro?
is to end child trafficking.
Save children.
So how is it muted? How is the the muted tone undercutting? How is it muted tone to begin with? It's literally just presenting the fact that this guy was a Homeland Security agent who busted pedophiles, and he's like, okay, cool, these guys are in prison, these guys are in jail. What happened to the kids that they stole? Or what happened to the kids that they were taking advantage of or that they abused?
Yeah,
I want to go a step further.
Yeah.
And then people, I mean, some people are saying even like, oh, Jim Caviezel, like, oh, the Underground Railroad project or whatever the organization that he funded, like they was trying. There's like I looked into it a little bit, and they tried to say, like, oh, well, he's done such sketchy sus things. I'm like, I don't care if he did sus sketch things. If he saved thousands of children from being trafficked, not saying that it's justifiable if you did, and I don't know if that's true or not. I think all the allegations fell through, and nothing actually was concrete. So it's as of now, he's an innocent man who didn't do anything tampering, and he saved thousands of kids. And the fact that they're trying to put a damper on in the movie that's representing what he did, and even in the movie, they're saying we aren't the heroes. These kids that saved each other are. Like that was literally the premise of what they're saying is like these kids are these heroes. That what they're going through is terrible. We need to do everything we can in our power to fight it.
Yeah,
and you can look at that movie and the message that was being brought, regardless of whether all of it was fiction, was nonfiction or not, and say something terrible like that in a title in the Guardian or in the New York Times. These are big publications. Rolling Stone. I remember what they said.
Saying, bro, it makes it look like you're
it looks like you're in on it.
It makes it look like you're a part of it. Just the first like montage of clips of the kids being taken up, the real life footage of kids being taken up is enough to be like, okay, this is a problem. And then when they show how it worked in the movie, they went to the audition or whatever. That's real. Like parents drop off their kids. There's tons of missing persons alerts with parents putting that out there. Like this happens, it's real, and they're gone, they're missing. That's all we know.
But you know that's
to the public.
But you know that's real even in go ahead, finish.
No, that's all we know to the public. Right. But this shed a light on the other side of things through a true story of this man who went out of his way, quit his job, and is like, I care more about saving kids than getting my pension in 10 months.
Literally.
And
then there was like some articles saying, well, he has to sign some release form in order for that information to be brought to light. I'm like, doesn't that prove that the government can't release his information, that he was actually a part of the government? Like because people are trying to disprove that he was a Homeland Security agent or that all these things. And it's like, he needs to sign something off in order for them to like release his documents or whatever. Then obviously he's probably was involved. But I think what's scary is that you pointed out in the beginning of the movie, it showed the recruiting process in Colombia, right?
Yeah.
Well, we are friends with Taylor Dooley, who was Lava Girl on Shark Boy Lava Girl, and she literally said the reason why, and she didn't say this, but I feel like she didn't even necessarily imply this, but I would take this position based off what she was saying. In Hollywood, when you are a child auditioning for roles, they don't want your parents involved. Right, based off her own, and this isn't just an attack on Hollywood, although I do not necessarily like Hollywood, the direction they've gone and the things that they're doing and trying to push on children through like subliminal messages through television and movies and all these things and their kids, cartoons, whatever. They take these children and put them in rooms alone to audition in front of 5, 10 men, 6 men, 3 men is even. Why can the parent not be there for the audition?
Right,
that's weird.
What do you think's gonna happen if the parent is there? Is what I'm saying. Do you think the child won't perform to the fullest extent?
They'll be too nervous to do that in front of
their They'd be too nervous to do it in front of their
not in front of a random
stranger,
stranger, in front of the parent.
5 randoms. Are you kidding me? You don't lose anything. If all you cared about is the talent and getting that talent out there, you don't lose anything. Nope. So it implies that there's something else. And the fact of the matter is that these kids, these child actors, always end up screwed up. Teens, 20s.
What happened to them?
All of them always end up screwed up. Why is that?
Yeah.
And then later on in life, you find out a lot of them.
What was this? Drugs.
It's always they became a drug
who gave
them
the drugs?
Or
who gave them the drugs?
Right. What was happening throughout
what happened
the entire
to them?
process?
They were high out of their mind and don't recall the events of the night before.
Right.
And these are all, just things that are being thrown out and no factual evidence to back up these things that we're saying. But it's like at a certain point, it's like A plus, B equals, or 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
It's simple. It's just like how
this story with Tim Ballard sheds light on everything because you see the process of what he went through to save a child. You saw the people just being snatched up off the street. You saw the being lured by evil people. And then you see stories or you hear just that end of the story in Hollywood, or in LA, because LA is terrible, of missing persons and kids being taken away from parents. And you hear it's not just LA, it's all around the country. You hear stories like that, and all you hear about is that they're missing, and you don't know the process. This movie shed a light on the process, and it brings awareness to like, okay, I need to know where my kid is at all times, because in 5 seconds, your kid could be playing on the street and you're not watching, and boom, they're gone.
Yep.
People working together. I was talking about this yesterday, but I saw a horrifying video. It's not just children. Like trafficking is sex trafficking is anyone. There was this girl just pulling up into her house, and she was just got out the car. Car pulls up, drags her away, and through her like ring camera, you hear her screaming like someone help. None of her neighbors heard, but she was dragged in a van and taken away. That's real. That happens. No one knows about that.
That's why Second Amendment should be pushed and not trying to strip
should
away,
be
because these
pushed.
kids, they're not even kids, these adults, this woman, if she had a gun, and there actually is an alternative story, or not alternative story, but another story where a woman was in an alley. Some guy tried to attack her. She pulled a gun out of her purse, boom, boom. Guess who survived and was able to live her life?
Yeah.
A good life. This woman.
Right.
But with it, I think another scary thing about the movie is that they give you a real visual representation of what it looks like for a child to be taken by a person who's so twisted in the head that they would be sexually gratified by them. Like, you see this grown man who looks like an every average day person, like the guy who works at a factory down the road, or he could be like a businessman,
Right,
or like whatever, like just anybody, it could be anybody. And they showed how sick in the head and how discreet and how quiet and how this is just why you need to be cautious. You need to be so cautious, and why you need to go see the movie, and why the fact that people are coming against it just implicates them. I feel like, because even this is what they say about the Epstein list. They say, why are you not revealing that list to us? That does not make sense. There is a list of people that were on the island.
Unspeakable acts, bro.
Unspeakable acts. And that's the thing. Even in the movie, they created, like, then they go to an island in order to like create this gentleman's club or whatever. Like, these things, you don't think this is happening? Like, it did happen. Epstein is an example of one of. There's probably many islands. It's the smartest thing you could do as a person, is to create some private thing where no one's who's gonna go on your island.
This is why like parents are such an important role in a child's life, and we talked about this just a couple days ago.
All the time.
Like we talk about this all the time. But the fact that they're trying so hard to remove the connection between a parent and a child is so evil. It's so disgusting. But it allows this to become even more of a problem.
Yeah.
Like when kids are just like, I can do what I want. I can be who I want to be. I don't even need my parents. And parents are just like, well, I mean, it's what he wants.
And they're being told that their parents aren't, like, your parents are the issue. Their parents are the problem. So you're going to look to another adult who has the answer. And the solution is, oh, you need to be a sex slave.
And to imagine you can trust a stranger over your parent. Like that's where they're leading. That. So it's like, okay, now this random person on the street easily, like, hey, you can trust me. I'll listen to whatever you want. Boom, gone. Like it's conditioning people to make this the norm.
Or even like the sexualization of them, like we've been saying, is if you sexualize them and make them think all these things are normal, the books that they're showing like little kids like doing inappropriate acts on each other, or just trying to teach them that like, isn't that Alfred Kinsey or John Money, one of those two, where that's the whole thing, their kids are sexual from birth, and that's what he was trying to push on everyone. When you push that on them and try and make that, normalize that to them, although it will be detrimental in their future, in their adolescence, they don't understand and they think maybe this is the right thing to do, but when they become an adult, they're literally going to be so messed up in the head. You're normalizing this, it's going to make them more susceptible to following and accepting someone who tells them, like, because in the movie, like, some of these kids were like, oh, this is normal, this is weird, I'm crying, I'm scared. But if you tell them, like, empower them to believe this is the right thing to do, in the moment they might actually fall into it, and it's like, oh, well, they consented to it.
They become
they consented to it, though.
They consented because
even though a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, 15-year-old can't consent to a grown adult,
but that's trying to be normalized. But those people,
they can revoke their consent like everyone else.
Literally. But those are the people that become the traffickers. Those are the people that become the pedophiles,
and they get involved in it, or those people, that percentage of people,
they threw it their whole,
killed themselves when they joined.
It's one or the other. Like, that's how it goes. And
or they're escaping.
Saying is hurt people. That's just how it is.
Very true.
Literally, they're creating this culture of just the word, I can't think of the word, but it's creating more pedophiles in the future, and I'm sick of it. This is disgusting. And I just hate that it's trying to be normalized with this map stuff.
And
everything.
Even this. Exactly. That sting operation that they showed at the beginning, where he was like pretending to be one of them. That although it was like important that people do this, it made me grossed out, because like, don't try and make me believe that you're one of us. Like, there's some like legion of sick individuals who
maybe literally
enjoy that,
demons, bro. Like,
it's like legit.
I don't know how you can physically be attracted to a child in any way, shape, or form. Like, how do you get to that place where it's like, I need to be intimate with the child? How does that happen? Like, I feel like that has to be a mental problem, like, or you're possessed by a demon. Like,
and specifically in the movie when it's like the youngest one that they wanted, this boy, like,
They wanted that, like they felt like they needed that. That is so vile. But that's like I'm saying, like they have MAPS flags in schools, in elementary schools.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Literally,
normalize this,
minor
bro.
attracted persons. That name alone, like it is pedo. Like,
It is a
we're gonna
pedo.
call you that, obviously, because that's the term. Like you're sick, and you're a sick
Yeah.
individual. But like even that doesn't. It's not any better. That rebranded name to try and normalize this condition that is just not all maps are pedos because they don't act on it. No, you are attracted to an
That
adolescent
alone.
child. You
That
are
alone.
mentally deranged, and you need to be put away. The
That
fact that it's even
alone.
there, the fact that you're even attracted. Oh, I haven't acted on it. I have no intention to. First of all, you probably watched the thing.
Yeah.
You're on that website. Like, you know how many the people that get caught when you see on TikTok and through the pedo watchers or whatever, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, no, I wasn't gonna do anything," or when their wife is right there, and some of the times the wife seems like they're in on it.
Man.
But it's just like they're just like, "Oh, no, I wasn't." A gaslight the heck out of it to say they act like they weren't going to do it, and they didn't do anything technically. So they're like, "No, I didn't. I was just trying to help her out. I was trying to help him out." And it's weird as a lot of these grown men are into little boys. This is so weird. They got a wife.
Yeah. Well,
It's like
being gay is normalized. Now let's take it a step further. What's wrong with a little boy being attracted to an older man? You know,
somebody
Let
made
me
some
be-
comparison. Somebody made a comparison the other day, or not the other day, but I saw it the other day, where they were like, when you have all this money and all this power, and that could be whether you're in the political realm, whether you're in business, whether you're in Hollywood, whatever, it could be any of those things where you have power, you have access to everything. It's like when you have access to everything, you hit a peak where it's like, what else can I have? And it's like, like when you're sexually perverse, you've had all the types of women, you maybe tampered with men as a man. You've gone all around. It's like, okay, what else is there to have? I've had everything else, and it's like you slowly, because of your degeneracy and your carnality and like we would say a sinful nature.
Yeah.
It brings you to another level. Like with everything else, whenever you get involved in, there's always another level, whether it's a greater level or a lower level.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, maybe like it's just like it's probably like a seamless process that you don't even realize you get to. You're attracted to children.
See that, yeah.
And then you're like, well, I've never had that. That's foreign territory. That's what can I accomplish next?
This,
what should I accomplish next? Or what can I get?
Because I am who I am.
I'm untouchable.
Right.
So, and that's just like probably one mindset of some people are just probably born sick in the head. But I hope not. But like,
if you are, then it's a mental disorder you were born with that you can get rid of. But let's not normalize it and be like,
there's only one way to get out.
This is the way. No, I'm just like, I hate that they're trying to rebrand maps or whatever, but it's also like you're saying, they're saying it's okay to feel this way as long as you don't act on it. Like, no, it's not.
No,
you need to, just like with all the other mental disorders, thinking you're something you're not. That should never be normalized. You need, like, you actually.
One thing's harming you, and the other one's harming other people.
Yes, because you let someone like think that it's okay to think this way, they will act on it eventually.
Remember that TED Talk? That TED Talk where the girl was like saying like talking about this scenario. I'll never be able to love who I really love. I'll never be able to do all these things.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I'm a pedophile, and I was like,
that was
she was speaking on behalf of some other guy, and I was like, is it some other guy or is it you? But I was like, regardless of that, I was like, I don't care if you never get to be with who you would truly love or what, never have to fully enjoy a sexual experience because it would only be with a minor child. That's sick. I don't really care if that's like, you think I have any sympathy, empathy towards you? I do not.
Never.
I promise you. Never. I do not care. Honestly, jail. Like where can I bring you?
Okay. Oh, thank you for the TED Talk.
Thanks for letting us know.
Lock him up.
Now let's put him away. Like
literally.
What? But like the media has been very disrespectful towards a movie that is meant to help people. Now, I don't know Tim Ballard personally, even though I think we're gonna meet him this weekend. Him and Jim Caviezel at this event. Reunite America in Howell, Michigan. Go there. We'll be there. You'll meet us if you go. It'll be a good time. I think we might be able to get an interview with them too. Maybe learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's just like this movie was literally sole purpose, regardless if you're on the left or on the right. Everyone cares about their kids. At least they should. And most of them, I would say, do. Yeah. Regardless of whether you pander to a certain demographic ideology, one way or the other, you care about your children. You don't want to see them harmed or taken away or abused. Yeah. That should have been this should have been a movie that unified the country in a sense.
Yeah.
like like okay, this is something that we can all agree on. And I've been saying this for years. That human trafficking, children being molested, sold into slavery, is something every single person in our country that is not insane
Yeah.
can align and agree on.
You
And
know,
so every single thing that's come up about it to this point over time just
yeah.
gets slowly pushed under the rug or gets headlines like this.
You know what made me so mad is like people on the left are where it's like it's not even a conservative movie, which pisses me off. It's literally not.
QAnon
It's just
conspiracy movie.
because they heard headlines like that, they believed it was. They got excited when they heard that one of the producers potentially was involved in pedophilia in some way or another. But I think it turned out it wasn't true. It was some domestic issue with with his child, but it wasn't anything to do with anything sexual or something
Yeah.
like that. So it came out to be false. But the left was like,
Ran
"See,
with it.
we told you this movie's all about this, that, and the other." And it's like, first of all, I
Told us
know you
what?
didn't watch the movie. You read the article and you believe what they said.
Yeah.
That's just like they won't. I think that maybe the left is like, I mean, I don't think like the left is so far gone to where it's like now that Maps is almost a sexual orientation, like the fact that you're putting on a movie like this is just harmful to this community. Like I think that's where like
You're being
some people
really
on the left are
hurtful to
thinking that.
this. And this is like obviously I feel like it is a small minority that just has a loud voice to the people that are like the map supporters. I do
Well,
not think
when it gets to the when the kids though, like when it comes to middle school, high school, they, I mean, I know it's like a trend, but half of them think they're bi now. Now it's like,
well, yeah, I think the
are
Gen Z,
kids gonna
20% of Gen Z is gay
right?
or
Yeah,
part of the LGBT,
and
the alphabet mafia.
right. So it's like if they get onto Maps, it's like, okay, is the next generation gonna be like, hey, I might be attracted to a 3-year-old, but hey, what's
Yeah.
wrong with that?
I don't know, but I think one thing that is is a positive thing to look forward to is that high school men and men can like can lead the next generation.
Yeah.
Have been leaning more conservative. Unfortunately, women have been leaning more liberal, but it's like something's got to give at some point. And if you're a
Till a
strong
certain
conservative
age.
man, you're not going to allow or settle for some woke liberal. So it's like these either women are either gonna have to fall in line, for lack of better words, to a degree. Like if they're gonna be, I mean, if they're gonna be uber liberal, like they're gonna have to fall in line to a man that's like, all right, well, I don't want that, and I think this is wrong.
It's
And if they're
young
like not,
women until they reach a certain age where it's like, okay, now my true values are coming out because I've lived an X amount of years thinking that this is what made me happy, and it's not what made me happy. What I really want is companionship, which everyone wants.
yeah,
And then they're gonna be like, okay, now I want my
yeah, it doesn't matter that much. To me,
strong
actually.
man. So it's like, which sucks for them because a lot of the time it's from the time they're 18 to 20 or whatever, or 18 to 30, you know. But yeah, this is crazy. We finished the movie yesterday, and I literally just sat there in awe that there is one single negative article, one single negative review. Because it's like,
What was conspiratorial that was pushed in that
what
movie?
could you possibly say about this movie that was negative in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
Even if it was blown out of proportion, which it wasn't, because they brought the receipts. If it was, the message is these children need to be protected. There are people out there that are taking these children from their families, and we need to bring awareness to this.
Yeah.
We need to stop this. And if we can be better parents, be better Samaritans, be better whatever, we should. That's the message of this movie.
Sure is.
So to act like there's anything that you can take away that's negative in any way, shape, or form, or spin to some conservative narrative,
Yeah,
is insane. And you have a serious problem, and I want to see your browser history, honestly. Because bro, what's wrong with
fact.
you?
What are you looking up?
Right.
What do you like? How do you justify hate towards this? Also, the people they said about the end of the movie where it was like, oh, they're asking for money. Then see, there it is, they're asking for money. Where's the money going to? The cause that they just talked about for 3 hours.
They also mentioned that there's free tickets you can get. Like, just see the movie.
Yeah,
like,
they said you can buy tickets.
Yeah.
For people that don't have money to see the movie.
Yeah.
Or if you need it, you're that person that doesn't have the money to see the movie. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they like at least like give you a Venmo or a website for you to like send money to, which still wouldn't even be an issue because like if it goes to an organization that's going to help save children,
right,
there shouldn't be an issue. But that wasn't even what they did. They tried to get people to go see the movie.
If this is like, it is based on a true story, but you saw at the end the raid, you saw at the beginning the real people taken. I feel like just seeing those is enough to be like, okay, this is disgusting, this is terrible. I want more people to know this is real so that they're more aware. There's nothing wrong with saying let more people see this movie because it brought awareness and shedding light on this very real problem that no one really knows about.
Yeah.
We've talked about like the trafficking at the border, because the border's open and it's real and it's
Yeah.
happening.
And
It's
Christy
terrible.
Hutchinson, we've had her on
Yeah.
our podcast talking
Yeah.
about that, how
It,
there's like rape trees and like
all that
kids
stuff,
being just
which is disgusting,
Uh-huh.
violent, evil.
Yeah.
But it's way worse. It's way worse. It's not
Well,
just
'cause that
happening.
times 10.
Yes, it's not just happening on the border. It's happening all around the world, in our country, could be down the street. Even Christian Hutchinson was talking about, there are neighborhoods, very nice suburban neighborhoods, with a house full of just children
You don't
that
know.
you would never know about, because they've been groomed.
That's what we
They've been
talk
given
about.
names like Teddy Bear and all
That's
this disgusting
disgusting
stuff.
me. That
And they're
disgusts me.
convinced, like, okay, this is who I am now. You know, like, it's happening to such a scale that we don't truly know. And this movie was beautiful and shedding light at that.
And of course, people that have a lot of means, like money and wealth, like they would be able to be discreet about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have everything they need. You have a big house. You can have a whole little layer in the basement or upstairs, wherever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying like everybody that's rich is a pedophile, because that's just not true,
No,
obviously. But it's like, when you have more access, you're less touchable. And when you're less touchable, you can do whatever you want. If whatever you want happens to be children, that's very detrimental for them. And I think, like you said, this movie sheds a light on, okay, keep your eye out.
yeah.
Let's do what we can to stop this.
What
Everyone
happened to
can
stranger
come
danger,
together.
bro? Do you hear that phrase anymore? Do you hear that being talked about like in school still?
No, I hear
was a
what we hear is love and acceptance towards every single person, and every person has value, and every person is this, and da 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 da, and all that's true to a degree, but there's nuance to it, and they don't ever want to acknowledge that. It's always just the broad, generic term, love, acceptance. Okay, what are we loving? People. Okay, what are we accepting? Every decision they ever make.
Everything.
No,
no.
that's not how life works, and that's not how
No.
people operate.
No.
You don't accept everything.
You shouldn't accept.
You shouldn't accept everything.
People need
But
to
that's
be
what
different.
this is going on.
Ah.
Accepting this perverse, disgusting lifestyle
Yeah.
that people are, and then like enabling people to act that way. Or like someone, it gets molested when they're 5 years old or 10 years old, and they, because it's that, they're like never grow up past that point, and so they're attracted to children. I've heard things like that with pedophiles too, because they're like, that's what they're mentally are at, their mental state is with children, and it's like, that's why, whatever. And like, that's sad and that's traumatic. But guess what? They're a grown adult molesting children, especially when there's someone that has like a relatively good job, they have good friends, they're seen as a nice person in the community. Yeah, they may be messed up in the head, but they know what they're doing.
Right.
So like, no,
there's no excuse. Like, they need help. Like they need to get help, and to act like it's okay, because to act like it's okay that they feel this way as long as they don't act on it. No. Like that, anyone that's been like
no, because eventually you will act on it.
That's it. You will. If you have these feelings about something,
if an opportunity presents itself, you will take it.
Right.
And that's 100%. The thing. I'll never pursue. I would never reach out to a child or never do this, blah, 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 blah. If an opportunity presents itself, and kids are so loving to adults, they just trust them. Like I said, we said this many times, we work with kids, they run on you, they lay on you, they sit on you, they want to be on you all the time and hug you and squeeze you and like jump on you and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, you get asked to babysit these kids or whatever, and like, you're like, I would never out there. That kid, I love them. I would never want to do anything to them. They like are touching you. Like, oh, well, they touched me first. Oh, they did this first. I was like,
the fact that like I know that happens,
that it does,
like makes me so angry.
They touched me first, and like they asked me. They said they wanted to see, they wanted to know what it was. So I was just trying to teach them what it was. I wasn't going to do anything, and then they started doing this, and I was like, oh, I couldn't help myself, or like whatever, you know. You can literally justify anything you want in your mind if you really want to for the moment, and maybe after you have like a realization of your insanity, but like in the moment you can justify anything. I've done it myself, not with that, obviously, never to that degree, but like I've done things where I'm just like, well, you know, and then like you get in your mind because you really want to do it, and you just make an excuse for it, and it's like, when you're that sick in the head, you're not going to do that. You aren't going to do that.
Yeah,
you're going to have the self-control to stop yourself.
You 100% will. Yeah. And I'm so sick of it, and I'm sick of every single one of these people out here that are hating on this movie. You need help. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it and you just read the articles, read the headlines, see the movie. Watch the movie. See it for yourself. You shouldn't be judging something if you haven't looked into it for real. You can't just live your life reading articles and just say that, oh, 100% they're batting 1,000. Like you lived your life. You lived your life in 2020. An article said one thing, and now they say something completely different. Like, you can't just trust the news articles 100% of the time. Watch the movie, see it for yourself. If you still feel that way at the end of the movie, I genuinely think there's something wrong with you. There's no way you can watch that movie.
I saw reviews. I wonder if I can like pull it up real quick.
There's no way you can watch
Most of
the
the reviews were
movie.
positive. I remember seeing one review. Where is it? Just the people. It's sick and it makes me sick. They're like they try to make this movie. They try to first. Obviously, you got to preface with human trafficking is a terrible thing, and I think that is great that we really need to stop this. I think it's terrible. Blah, 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 blah. But this movie was just blah 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 blah. They try to go on a whole thing about how it's not good, and of course, it's the ones that had a negative thing to say about that had wrote in a novel because that's the only way that it could look somewhat like you are insane. Because I have to over explain a book to you, and I don't even know if I should read this whole thing. Well, maybe I will.
Is it like crazy long?
It's not like
a
crazy long, but it's kind of long. I kind of
maybe just read a little bit of it, a snippet.
The issue that many face in supporting Sound of Freedom movie is not about the subject or the noble cause it represents. It's the logic and beliefs that drive the narrative logic around the movie. Let me explain. Yeah, please do. Child trafficking is real, and I'm sure some elites use their privilege for evil. Just let's be super nonchalant about that. I'm sure some do. Anyways.
Yeah, like that's not disgusting.
My issue is that no, like that's not terrible. Yeah. If some elites are doing that, that should be acknowledged and stopped. I'm sure some of them do it. Anyways, continue. My issue is a driving mindset from the source and the actors involved in this project and how it's rooted in the Q nonsense. So here's the thing. Let's just say every single person that works on the movie itself was a QAnon conspiracy theorist, and they all believe that there's lizard people and Donald Trump is a time traveler from the whatever. They want to think all the things. That doesn't really matter because the movie doesn't say any of those things.
Nope.
The movie is a representation of what reality with maybe a little spin of fiction for Hollywood dramatic effect, whatever. But the premise of what's going on is true, and the fact that it needs to be stopped is true, and the fact that there's someone that was fighting that in real life is true. And you really just want to say some nonsense like that? You really just openly said, "Oh, because QAnon." The movie wasn't like who. What's I don't care if Jim Caviezel is some QAnon because I really don't care because in the movie he wasn't.
Even if it is in line with QAnon, that has nothing to do with the fact that this is 100% true. This is real, and if it aligns with QAnon, maybe there still happens to be some things about QAnon that are
but some people are going to
just because there's something in QAnon. There's a lot of fiction. Doesn't mean that everything is fiction.
Well, some people. That's the thing. People are going to be like just immediately turned off no matter what because it involves QAnon because people are so brainwashed into believing their side of the aisle is right about everything, and so therefore I cannot critically think outside of the ideology that I've been told to believe. So
this is a real story. That's what gets me mad. If this was just
they'll say it's real, but I think it is based on a true story, which means there are things in it that aren't necessarily.
The fact that that the raid is real, where at least 8 kids were saved. Where the fact that that's real, but he didn't
go save that kid. They didn't go save that kid. And
even so, there was a whole
she didn't make it actually
operation where millions of dollars were spent to save 58 kids. Get that Q bull out of here. There's no way. You're reaching.
No.
You're literally reaching.
Okay, now listen to this. I actually approve of conspiracy-minded thinking as a rule. It has its place in keeping us grounded and not allowing abuses of power. The problem with Q and aspects of this movie, not any details, just aspects of this movie, very general statements. But he sounds very intelligent, Q. And of this movie, the problem with Q and the aspects of this movie abstractly is that it ignores evidence. Questioning the narratives people present and looking for the real facts underneath is how you expose abuse and evil. What about the movie didn't provide evidence of what was happening and then show the solution as well? Do you think there was a moment? This is talking to the person operating this show right now. Was there a moment where there was no evidence presented over these kids being taken advantage of? The answer was no, by the way, because you're wondering. That's so insane. Evidence. This is all outside of the movie that this person's talking about.
Do we know the 100% full story from Tim Ballard, his perspective on everything? No. But we do know that the raid is real. We know that people are being trafficked. We do know that he saved 2 children that are now with their parents. I don't know what they're doing, but they're now with their parents because of what he did.
Yes, exactly.
What's Q?
People buying into the Q nonsense have gone from a healthy mindset I support to fast food that beliefs are somehow fact and are often conflating partisan narratives and the cult of personality mindsets and how somehow themselves facts. That is a toxic and damaging to everyone. What in the movie is what you're saying? And to the foundations of damaging to everyone and to the foundations of our republic. This is not just an issue to the believers of such nonsense, but a virus that spreads to anyone lacking basic critical thinking skills. A bigger problem here specifically is many of these supporters are making spurious claims against the specific people without facts. What specific people? This movie had nothing. Wasn't targeting any specific person. Just talking about pedophiles and how they need to be stopped and
The
traffickers.
pedophiles that happen to be involved with Tim
Yeah.
Ballard that he exposed and he
Yes.
showed freaking receipts about, bro.
This is exactly a line free speech should be limited at. If you have specific facts to support an accusation, state them. Don't just accuse someone without basis because you don't like their politics.
So what he want? No, what he wants is for a scene to happen in the movie. Cut video footage of the actual Tim Ballard incidents when he conversated with these people, when he talked to them at this point, when he did the raid, when he did this. Like, you can't just watch the movie and then explain what happened. You need to have the cuts with the video evidence in the movie for it to be legit. Otherwise,
is that what you think he's saying?
That's what I think.
That acts as corroding our nation.
Maybe not to that extent, but he wants maybe, I don't know, a whole documentary with the evidence outside of that. Because how are you supposed to do that in a couple-hour film?
I don't know, but that acts as a corroding our nation with the fallacy of us versus them, damaging narratives. Don't mistake me. This is a rule that should apply to all sides. I'm not taking Hollywood's side. I'm saying it's a rule we should play universally or risk eroding our republic, period. In fact, the bias of this Q group is made clear by one simple fact. It's not just Hollywood. It's all the rich and elite that have the resources that can do this. Literally in the movie, they weren't talking about Hollywood specifically at all. They were talking about everyone. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. He was not a Hollywood elite, but he was rich. Of what we knew of his list, who was on it, mostly rich real estate moguls and political figures and celebrities. A lot of celebrities based off what was displayed to us as the list. I don't know what you're talking about. Bro, if you look at political figures, even though many of both the left and the right have some kind of evidence of having participated or been a part of child trafficking or abuse, you have managed to deflect any real accountability due to the color of law. Again, why only limit the issue to Hollywood, especially since there's no specific evidence that Hollywood is the center of it,
bro?
When there's overwhelming specific evidence that real estate moguls and political figures have been caught participating in such things and avoided accountability for such actions frequently.
No, just like,
hold on, son. Wouldn't they be drawn to areas where they have control and the ability to deflect the accountability as they commit evil? That said, I support the issue being discussed wholeheartedly and support those that are dedicated to the cause of stopping human trafficking and child trafficking. In that essence, the movie is about heroes. It's the application of belief as facts that hurts a noble message here.
I just want
literally to know. You literally talked for an hour about nothing. Like that you wrote a whole 3-piece like chapter.
He made it seem like the movie was targeting Hollywood. In what way, shape,
most reviews are positive, by the way.
Did they ever focus anywhere? They weren't even focused in America at all.
There was no Hollywood.
They had mentioned that this happens in LA, but it does happen in LA and it happens all around the country. But they never once focused on Hollywood. They said Americans come to these areas to
and they did,
which happens, is real, but it was focused on the trafficking rings outside of America. So the fact that you can be so disingenuous and act like this movie was talking about Hollywood, targeting Hollywood, and making it seem like celebrities are the problem, like it not at all. I don't see how you can get that from that movie.
I think what he was doing was actually attributing. He probably didn't watch the movie, I'm assuming, because I think what he did was he saw what QAnon says or what QAnon stands for, I guess, I don't even know, and took everything they believe what they stand for and tried to say this is what happened in the movie. So he wrote a whole novel on stuff that he had no idea what he was talking about. That's what it sounds like, because everything he was stating was not in the movie. So like it couldn't have been. And like Tim Caviezel said, this movie they made 5 years ago, and they kept having issues. Filmed 5 years ago, they had issues getting it out. It's in
why Hollywood wouldn't put it out there.
And if someone else said to me, someone who like wasn't like a big fan of this, thinking it was like some sort of like misdirection or some distraction. Maybe he's one of my friends on social media, but he was like, "There's been 20 movies in the last 10 years or 15 years or 20 years talking about awareness." Okay, and we should have 20 more. Like I don't agree that, like, I'm not gonna say that movies is like where we should stop. We should obviously, there should be action put before
100%.
But it's literally like Top Gun. It probably inspired many people to become pilots and serve the military. Movies and storytelling is inspirational and changes people's perspectives and lives. Joy and Matt, they say, exactly. Storytelling literally can change someone's whole life. A book can change someone's whole life. And so the message needs to be brought out, and it needs to be not stopped or hidden or lied on by the media and by Hollywood. Or if that's what you're talking about, like the 5-year like attempt to get this movie out, but that wouldn't make sense, because that's not.
But they didn't want to put it out there. And the question is why?
Yeah,
because like they're not targeting Hollywood at all in this movie, so why wouldn't Hollywood want to put it out there?
Unless they made them cut some parts out.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying that That comment really got me tight. I ain't gonna lie.
I could tell.
This guy, it's just so disingenuous, bro. There's no way he could have watched the movie. That point blank, he couldn't watch the movie. But guys, everyone needs to watch this. Check it out. If you haven't seen it yet, it is a great film. I mean, it's hard. It's a tough watch.
It is
a tough watch.
No, we had some people crying for sure.
If you have kids, like are close to some kids in any way, shape, or form, this movie will hurt you. Because it brings awareness. Like this could happen to your kid if you're not careful.
Care about people.
If you just are genuine, like you care about people, this movie could hurt you. But it brings awareness. It sheds a light on this, and you can be more careful and bring awareness to other people and other families, and be better parents, be better role models. Let them understand that this world is not out there to help them. You know, like that needs to be out there more. So this movie will help. I mean, I don't know which friend said that about how we need more action than filmmaking or whatever, but this movie definitely should inspire parents, to be better role models,
to be more aware,
and for just people to be, because we've gotten to this place in our society where it's like we don't know our neighbors. You know, before, you know, neighborhoods were super tight. You knew Billy up the block, you knew Suzanne down the street,
you know, Kubi, couple miles down the road.
But like you knew each other, and you were like so just
got along. You guys had community.
But now it's like, I don't know who lives next to me. I don't care who lives next to
me.
Yeah,
but you know who's in Japan on the phone, through headsets, to playing video games.
I mean,
so
true.
That's what you know. But there's no actual human connection there, other than like you may build some sort of connection, because you don't get to spend that. You don't get to hug that person. You don't get to shake that person's hand. You don't get to play with that person.
If we were more like that, like I feel like cases would go down so fast, just because it's like,
well, yeah, because for example, you'd see like right now you don't know your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
So you don't know that this kid's your neighbor. But if you still say our communities are close, and you know that that's not that guy's kid, why is Jimmy with this dude?
Yeah.
Why is Susie with that guy? Who is that? Hey, Susie, who's this? Oh, either it's my Uncle Jim, or it's my this person, or I have no idea. Yeah. Or you can see the uncomfortability and unsureness on their face.
Right.
If you don't have a community, you don't have people knowing each other and where they come from, then it's like you wouldn't even peep that. You wouldn't know.
No, exactly.
Like that's just one example, but
that's something I definitely think this movie will do. I think it'll inspire people to be just better people overall. You know, wanting to help children, because really
looking outside themselves, because that's something they haven't been taught nowadays. Every day,
100%.
Everything is about you, myself, my success, how I can grow, how I can do this. And I'm not saying work on yourself, get that bag, whatever. That's fine, but you should never step on other people's toes or be unaware of people around you while you're getting to where you need to go. You should be cared. You should care.
Yeah,
you should care. That's like it. And like, shout out to Jim Caviezel, who's just doing 2 amazing movies. First, Passion of the Christ back in the day, and now you're being like a pioneer for ending human trafficking. It's like, it really is doing the Lord's work.
Bro played Jesus, then did his work.
Yeah, legit. He said, I could be the master and the servant.
Right.
Even though Jesus did say I can't serve. So all the biblical people that try to come at me for that. Jesus said he could serve. He washed feet. Whatever. We get it. But I mean, that's kind of it. Like, honestly, make sure to like this video, both videos. We're streaming on multiple platforms. So like the video, share the video, comment, let us know your thoughts on the movie. If you saw it, if you didn't see it, go see it, come back, like it, share it, comment, and let us know what you thought about it. Yeah. Also, we're going to see them this weekend in, like I said, Howell, Michigan. I'll try Reunite America. We'll try and put maybe the link in the description. I don't even know. I just know I'm going there, and I'm not running all everything. But you guys should go check that out if you want to see us. We'll try and get a picture with you. We'll try and talk to you if you have any questions.
Yeah.
In person is easier than like messaging or even like commenting, because never can really hear tone sometimes. So it's like forever. But like, share, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you this weekend. And if not, we'll see you on the next live.
All right, y'all.
Peace.